Hi there, I'm John Parry and I'm Principal of Gurteen College. Really excited to welcome you to our virtual open day. COVID-19 restrictions means we can't invite you onto our campus, but what we've got instead are my colleagues out and about around the campus demonstrating our fabulous facilities and giving you a real feel for what it would be like to be a student studying agriculture on one of the Teagasc programs here. Live in the studio, some colleagues are waiting to answer your questions and tell you why Gurteen College could be the future of your career. Welcome. Really excited to host this live event, a virtual open day here at Gurteen College. We've got colleagues out and about around the campus and on the farm. They're there to show you around and to talk to you about what an experience at Gurteen would be and how students feel when they're studying agriculture on one of the Teagasc programs here at the college. I'm joined live in the studio by my colleagues, Dr. Stephanie Scully, Joe Daly, and Anne-Marie Murphy. Perhaps you'd like to introduce yourselves. Stephanie.
Hi, John. As you said, my name is Stephanie Scully. My role in the college at the moment is assistant to the principal. And I suppose I teach as well. I'm also the course coordinator to the full-time course. So it's my responsibility to make sure that we start and complete that course in its entirety each year. I come from a farming background, so I have a good relationship with students and I can appreciate, their backgrounds. And I can also appreciate students who have maybe more academic inclinations, and I can help them as well.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Stephanie. Joe?
Okay, thank you, John. Joe Daly is my name. I'm in Gurteen quite a while. I'm here since 2002. I previously worked with the Farmer Apprenticeship Board, and I suppose in that period of time, I know a lot of people around the country, past students who may be tuned in, or farmers who host some of our students, and I'd just like to say hello to anyone who's out there who's looking at us this evening. I probably say over 18 years here in Gurteen College, we probably have had students from all counties in Ireland and possibly from every parish in the country. So we're I suppose a national college, and we draw in from all over the country. So that's me, and I'm here part of the furniture for a while, Joe.
A friendly face for everybody at Gurteen. Thanks, Joe. Anne-Marie?
Thanks, John. My name is Anne-Marie Murphy. I'm in Gurteen the past 2 years. I've worked across the full-time, part-time and distance courses. I'm currently course coordinator for the part-time course and tutor on the part-time and distance course. So if anybody has any questions about any adult learning courses, please do send them in.
That's brilliant, Anne-Marie, and it leads me straight into the next point here, which is we're a live event and we've got a question and answer session which is on your screens. If don't use the chat function, use the question and answer session, and those they come straight through to my screen here, so I can see that my nephew Jimmy, live in Oxford, is already asking questions about how many cows we've got, and I promise you, Jimmy, we'll get to that point later in the session. In terms of our ambition for the rest of the evening, then really what I want to try and do is to give you a feel for what it would be like to be a student at Gurteen. Yes, we're going to tell you about the farm and the facilities, but more importantly, what do students benefit from attending Gurteen, and how does it feel when you're a student here? What are the highs and the lows of being a student at the college? In terms of our ambition, then clearly one of the things we're looking for is to try and help people move along that process and develop their careers. And the first starting point for that would always be to refer to our website. So if you simply go on to gurteencollege.ie, you'll find all the information that you're looking for, including how to apply for the courses, which we'll talk about as the evening progresses. So that's our ambition. Our ambition is to make this as interactive as we possibly can and to give you a real insight into the workings of Gurteen College and how we help develop students' careers and progress them onto the next phase of their process. So what we're about to do is start off with a video which one of our students has very kindly shot themselves, just to give you an indication of how she's progressing through her current studies here at Gurteen.
Hiya, my name is Maria Keane. I'm originally from West Limerick, but I'm now married and living in County Offaly. And I graduated from UL with a joint honours degree, and then I completed a postgrad in accounting after that. And now I'm dairy farming full time with my husband Patrick. I decided to undertake the distance education Green Cert in Gurteen College because I felt although I was gaining a lot of practical experience on the farm, I needed to gain a foundation and knowledge in agriculture, and Gurteen was the place best suited for this. So I definitely think that this course will stand to me in my future farming career. So for me, it has brought together the important theory and practical elements of the day-to-day running of a farm. And what I really like about it is how the tutors, they teach you the material through a mix of on-site and online learning. So they'll teach you that material and then they apply it then in a practical way out on the farm. So they're really with you every step of the way. So I'm also learning aspects from other sectors, and it's given me a broader understanding of the wider agricultural industry. And I'm delighted that I decided to do this course, and I definitely recommend it to others, especially those who want to learn more about the exciting and interesting agricultural industry that we have here in Ireland.
The passion, the enthusiasm, the excitement of Maria just shines through in that video. I'm sure you could all see that. How much she's really enjoying being a student at Gurteen, but also the development that she can see within herself. So Maria's currently on one of our part-time programs, and I'm going to hand over now to Anne-Marie. And Anne-Marie, if you could talk to us about the part-time and the distance programs and how they're structured.
Thanks, John. Yeah, so like you said, Maria is a current student on our distance program here in Gurteen. She's in one of the courses that I'm currently teaching on, and I think Maria hit the nail on the head there, talking about how the theory and the practical elements are, you know, they're divided up between the classroom and the outdoors as well when we're doing practicals outside. So for our adult learning courses, we have part-time and distance courses. Like Maria said, she has come from a background, she went to college in UL and studied accounting afterwards. So we have people from completely different careers coming to do our adult learning courses, but I suppose they're all coming for one common focus, is to get their level 6 specific purpose in farming. So our part-time course is ran 2 nights a week, and our distance course is ran 1 day a month, and we'll speak about the schedule later on in the evening, John.
That's brilliant. Thanks very much. So we've got a bit of a feeling there in terms of how the part-time and the distance courses at Gurteen run. Steph, maybe you could talk us through in detail how the full-time courses work.
Yeah, absolutely. So as I said earlier, I'm the full-time course coordinator in Gurteen College. And the full-time course means that a student comes to the college and attends here Monday to Friday, approximately 9 to 5. So classes begin at around 9:15, and they end most evenings between 4:30 and 5 o'clock. So for a level 5 full-time student, when they arrive at Gurteen, they come here in September and they'll stay here until May. That year that they'll spend with us is going to entail 8 weeks of work placement, which is broke up into 2 4-week blocks. So they'll do 4 weeks in the autumn and 4 weeks in the spring. The first 6 weeks, however, when they do come in September, will be them coming in here, and they'll be doing a mixture of practical and theory. So half of the day is broke up into practical classes where they're outside and they're learning all the practicalities of the course. And the other half of the day is learning the theory associated with that practical learning. So in a nutshell, that's the breakup of the course. You have 6 weeks in, 4 weeks out on placement, another 6 weeks in where they'll do some exams, and that's something we'll touch on later in relation to the course, how the students progress with their assessments. After Christmas then it's another approximately 6 weeks, then 4 weeks out on work placement, and then they finish in the college on their first year for another 6 weeks. So that's the first year course full time.
That's what we would call the level 5 program.
That's what we would call the Teagasc level 5 program, yeah. And a person must pass that program before they can then progress into the Teagasc level 6 program. And the full-time program for level 6 in Gurteen is what we call an advanced certificate program. So the student, again, they attend from September to May. The second year, though, is a little bit different in that we offer 16 weeks of placement. So when we offer that placement, it's during the spring period. So the student will start in September, they'll stay with us in the college until approximately the end of January, and then they'll go out for 16 weeks from February until basically May. So they may come back to us in May for a week or two, but like I said, a good period of the spring will be out working on the farms, applying all that knowledge and skills that we've been teaching them for the past year and a half or so. So that's the two courses in a nutshell. And I suppose for students who come here, as Anne-Marie said, you know, we do have part-time and distance students, but the full-time students create the body and the energy for us in Gurteen College. If they weren't here, that vibrance and that energy and the enthusiasm that people associate with coming to Gurteen College, it probably wouldn't be there. So they create that, like I said, that life that's associated with Gurteen and that warmth that everyone knows about when they do come.
Steph, that's really good, thank you. So we've got a very clear picture that for a full-time program, you start on a level 5 one-year program, and you progress into a level 6. And later on, we're going to talk to the people about progression routes and employment opportunities in terms of where that goes.
Yeah.
But Anne-Marie, if I can come back to you and ask about the part-time and the distance. So Steph has given us an indication of how that is broken down into 2 courses.
Mm-hmm.
How does that work for the part-time and the distance? We've got lots of questions coming in, and one of the questions which has already come in, it says that I really need to get my green cert. How do I qualify for that? So maybe we could answer that question now and you could help us through that process.
Yep. So John, basically when you sign up to a part-time or a distance course, you're looking at between 22 to 24 months to complete the course. So when you sign up with us, you're signing up for the level 5 and the level 6 combined. Whereas I suppose when you sign up for the full-time course, you're finished the full-time course, the level 5 after 1 year, and then you apply again to go into second year as you're branching off into the advanced certificates. So when you sign up for the part-time and distance, like I said, you're signing up for the 2 years, and we still complete our level 5 and level 6 within them 2 years. It's important to note that the qualifications that the level 5 and level 6 on the part-time and distance course is the same as the full-time course. You still have the same young trained farmer status and eligible for the same grants and things like that. So that's important to know. It's the same green cert effectively that you're getting from the full-time, part-time and distance course.
Okay, excellent. So this individual that's interested in getting the green cert, then if they come on the part-time or the distance, that will achieve that, as would if they came on one of our full-time programs. So just different routes to the same end.
And I suppose the only thing to say about the full-time course is that when a person does the advanced certificate, that advanced certificate allows them a progression route, which we will discuss later, that the course that Anne-Marie does, it's offering what we call the green cert, and that's it, you know. So
Anne-Marie, I'm coming back to you because I know that when I speak to the part-time and the distance students, quite often what I'm told is that what they're really looking for is the green cert. But when we start asking them that at the end of a course, they tell us a very different story, that you know, they came to get a green cert, but actually they found out.
Yeah, definitely. They all have that common purpose to come to the college to get the green cert. And I suppose just going back to Maria's video, like she's been exposed to a lot of enterprises across agriculture in Ireland, which is excellent, which is going to broaden her knowledge. And no matter what sector you're in, it's going to, you know, it's going to help going forward if you're going to be farming full-time or part-time. Yeah, so it is important there, John, to...
Perfect. So I've got 2 more questions, which are actually John questions rather than public questions, and then we'll start looking at some of the questions which are coming in. So if you could start with Steph, could you just talk us through what sort of person applies to do a full-time course at Gurteen? So how old? What's their background?
That's a really good question, John. So I suppose in terms of age bracket, we have students anywhere from the age of 16 right through to early 20s applying to do the level 5 course. Because as Anne-Marie said, I think she said it anyway, to do a part-time course in the evening, Mondays and Wednesdays in Gurteen, you must be over the age of 23, or to do a distance course, you must have had your advanced, you must have had a level 6 degree. So the type of student, like I said, that's coming to us for the full-time is a person leaving school, basically. I would just like to say that if you are 16 and you've applied, you must have turned 17 before, I think it's the 30th of December. That's, you know, a rule that is there in place for Teagasc. And the background then is quite varied. So I suppose traditionally, most of our students are coming from a farming background. But I suppose I want to say tonight to people that coming from a farming background is not an absolute necessity to come to Gurteen College. We treat everybody when they come in, we start everything at a very basic level, and depending then on a person's abilities, they can progress, but it doesn't matter what kind of a background you come from. And again, we have people coming from urban and rural settings, probably more rural. And we have a good mixture of male and female. So one of the things that I'm very proud of in Gurteen is that we have, a very good gender balance in the college. We would have had up to 14 female students enroll in our first year program last year. And they create a brilliant dynamic in the college. It's a real benefit to see females progressing through agriculture and taking on the same roles as their male counterparts.
Brilliant. So similar question to you, Anne-Marie, really. Just, part-time and distance, what type of people are applying for that and what are their backgrounds?
Yeah, we'd have people that are farming full-time, people that are part-time farming, maybe people that are working professionally at the minute, but envisage that they're going to be returning home to farm, maybe in a partnership with a family member in the coming years. So I suppose they're forward planning by getting their green cert. And then we've people maybe that have no ties with farming, but they're interested in farming. They want to learn more and they want to get their green cert, I suppose, to see, is this a route that I want to go down? So a wide range of people on the course. And I suppose, just coming back to your earlier question, at the end of the course, they've made friends at the end of it. They've met like-minded people, and they've met people maybe that are in similar farming situations that they mightn't have thought they would have met throughout the course. And I suppose friendships do blossom throughout the part-time and distance course as well, which is important.
Real community spirit across the whole of college. The questions are literally flying in. I think there's 17 listed on the system at the moment, and we'll try our best to get to all of them, but we'll maybe pause in a moment and go to another one of our videos. There's a very important question that's come in that says, will Gurteen be open in September considering the current COVID restrictions? So my very simple answer to that is we will follow all the government guidance. We've done that since March when COVID first became a real issue in Ireland. We're scrupulous about how we're making sure that we adhere to every regulation that's there. And so long as we're allowed to open in September, then we will be open and we will be welcoming students to join us. Steph, maybe you could elaborate on that and just explain a little bit about how we've worked during the last few weeks and what timetable might look like in September if COVID is still a problem.
So as everyone knows, over the last approximately 8 or 9 weeks, the country has been in a virtual lockdown. So it meant that we as a college had to convert our entire full-time program and part-time programs to an online learning platform. We use Moodle. It's an online learning platform that Teagasc actually have had all along. And then we have backed up Moodle with Zoom classes, live Zoom classes and recorded Zoom classes for students to watch. And it's been very, very successful. So the staff have responded in the most positive way I could describe in the last few weeks. And I suppose going forward, John, in September, it's very likely that we will be taking elements of what we've done in the last 7 or 8 weeks and applying them in September, because there might be situations, we don't know, where we may have to apply some type of a distancing measure or depending on the government guidelines. So what we foresee is that we'll be bringing in students and we'll be doing most of our classes within the college and adhering to the guidelines, and then doing a little bit of what we would refer to as blended learning. So a student would get probably the majority of their work here in the college, and then some of the work will be delivered via those learning platforms, Zoom, Moodle, other platforms that we're developing and that Teagasc are developing. So it'll be a mixed approach in September. That's how I foresee, the timetable and the students' experience with us.
And that very strong practical heritage that Gurteen's so proud of. How are we going to maintain that? So the yard duties and all those practical classes, we envisage they're going to continue?
I absolutely envisage all of that continuing. So as long as we can adhere to the guidelines, and we're very determined to do that, there shouldn't be any problem or any reason why a student cannot come in and complete their yard work and their practical learning in a safe, secure way where they can be confident that, everything has been adhered to. And it's such an important part of what we do, that we can confidently say to students that we're going to provide them with the best and the most practical learning that they could get in any college in the country. That, it's one of the big things that we stand over. So that's not going to change.
That's really reassuring. Thanks, Steph. So One more question in this section, and then we're going to go to another video. And the question is about how many students are there currently at Gurteen? And I'll maybe answer that question myself. So within reason, we've got about 150 full-time students on our programs, and then there's an additional 200, 250 part-time students studying agriculture here. So we're a big community at any one stage. There's a cohort of over 400 students studying the agriculture programs, the Teagasc agriculture programs here at Gurteen. So we're going to close that question and answer session. There'll be more opportunities later on, so please do keep them going. But now we're going to head off and we're going to visit Ken out in the farmyard.
Hi, I'm Ken. I'm the farm manager here at Gurteen College, and I also have some teaching duties. I'm here to talk to you today about our crops and our machinery. In the first year in Gurteen, all students will learn about tractor operations. During their practicals, they get the opportunity to do tasks such as fertilizer spreading, tractor and trailer and loader operations, ATVs and slurry spreading. The students who choose to do our crops and machinery as their area will also get the opportunity to plough and sow crops like the ones here. When students are in yard work in the college, they will get the opportunity to be involved in whatever work is going on the farm at that time of year and to work as part of our farm team. When students enter our level 6, they become more specialised. Students who choose our machinery and crops option will do more advanced tractor operations. We intend to get our students involved in mowing and baling a crop of silage. They will also undergo sprayer training and become certified to spray crops. They will do a lot on the maintenance of tractors and of farm machinery. The students will also get the chance to design and build a piece of farm machinery, a piece of their choosing, for one of their projects. All level students get the opportunity to operate the front loader and the diet feeder. During periods of work placement, students get to further develop their skills on farm. Some of our level 6 crops and machinery students also choose to do an industrial placement with fabricators or machinery dealers. We grow close to 100 acres of tillage crops, mostly cereals like the spring barley and the fodder beet that we're standing in here. We also grow 80 acres of willow as an energy crop. This gives us great scope for teaching and discussion around the management of crops. Our goal for level 6 students who choose the crops and machinery option is to turn out good, practical, knowledgeable machinery operators.
Thanks, Ken. That gave us a really good insight into the practical nature of the courses, but it also helped demonstrate the real commercial enterprises that we're running here at the farm. You've got a good view of the fleet of tractors and the 100 acres of tillage that we're growing. So Joe Daly, we're going to come over to you now, and I want you really just to talk through, carrying on from where Ken left off, talk through the practical nature of training at Gurteen and what students might expect in terms of how that works.
Yeah, well, I suppose, John, Ken has given a good overview, and I suppose the picture's there as well. A picture paints 1,000 words, but it doesn't matter whether students are doing a full-time or a part-time course. All the modules that are on the program, the Teagasc modules, have large elements of practical skills involved in them, and they're part of the course that have to be done. So how do we deliver those skills to the students? Well, as you see from some of the videos, and as you'll see through the evening, the farm is a large commercial farm. You said that yourself, John. It's a large commercial farm with commercial sized enterprises on it. So we can send students out to the dairy unit, and they can practice skills and get the opportunity to develop those skills with practice on large numbers of animals. And they also then have the opportunity to do farm work. We pride that as something which is of benefit to people. The type of people, I suppose, that are interested and do our programs, they like standing in fields like Ken, they're outdoorsy type people. And our course, Stephanie was talking about the structure of our course, and I would say 50% of our course is practical, or done in a workshop, or done in a shed with livestock, or done in a shed with machinery. Mm-hmm. So it's practical. We're really into hands-on. We also have, it was mentioned there, Stephanie mentioned it earlier, about the practical learning or placement on the course. And students do that. And we have a huge resource. We have a brilliant resource of host farmers which are available on a register from Teagasc that we use to place students. And we try to match students up, say, in terms of their enterprises, their locations, their interests. So if a student had a particular interest in dairying a grass-based system with be it black and whites or jersey cross. We try and match the student to the type of enterprise, and the focus is always on trying to get the best experience and learning experience from the practical elements of our course. We're doing that using the resources we have here on the farm.
So Joe, one question, and I'm going to move over to Steph, but is there any classroom activity? So we've talked a lot about the practical nature. How much classroom activity?
Well, I suppose if we looked at a typical day in the college, students probably are in class from 9 to lunchtime, and then in the afternoon they're on practicals.
Brilliant.
So that you could say half and half. The day is half and half.
So that leads us neatly, Steph, over to you if we can. So
Yep.
I wonder for the viewers whether it would be helpful if you could just talk us through what an average timetable would look like.
Yep, absolutely, John. So I'll just begin with the level 5 timetable, considering probably the most of the people who are watching here are going to be entering into level 5. And like I said earlier, the day starts approximately 9:15, and most days we finish around 4:30. And the way I've structured the timetable this year and the way we've structured it in past years is, as Joe said, half of the day the student is out doing skills, and an example of a skill might be to go out and dose a cow, or it might be to go out and help Ken and the guys on the tillage enterprise with their work. It might be to do farm work. So as Joe said, we're a very big farm. We've got 1,000 acres. We have lots and lots of scope to send a student out and do the farm work and gain the skills that we're teaching them through the course that way as well. So half the day is spent doing that. And then the other half of the day is used to do what we call theory. Now, that's not necessarily theory in a classroom. Sometimes it is. But, you know, if there's a group of cows outside and we're talking about lameness as a theory module, we'll go out and we'll look at the cows and we'll do the class that way. That's the ethos in Gurteen, to do as much outdoor practical learning as possible. So a typical day would be made up of that. And then we have a break during the day. Obviously, we're going to let them eat. So we have a lunch break from 12:30 to 1:30. And as Joe said, most of the practical skills take place in the afternoon. The week entails Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday full time, and then students would get from 9:30 to 12:30 on a Friday. They get lunch and then they get Friday afternoon off. And that timetable in level 5 in the first year, like I said earlier, goes from September through to about October. They'll go out for 4 weeks in October. They'll come back in after their 4 weeks and they'll stay with us until Christmas. And around Christmas time, we start to do some theory exams. And just as I'm hitting on exams, I just want to kind of, I suppose, not get people too worried about exams, because the course is what we call you get examined as you go along. So it's a continuous assessment course. So 2 or 3 weeks into the course, students can expect that the skills that they're doing, they will get some assessments on that. And then we introduce the theory exams as we go along.
So we build up the marks as the year progresses.
Exactly. So it's
Brilliant.
very different to anyone coming from the Leaving Cert right now, where you're doing one exam. It's multiple assessments done throughout the year.
Okay, so that's really good. Thanks, Steph.
No problem.
Anne-Marie, if you can, briefly, could you just talk us through what the schedule for part-time and distance looks like? So we understand what a level 5 student would be doing on our full-time program. What does distance and part-time schedule look like?
Yeah, so like we said earlier, like Joe and Stephanie said, it's the exact same course that's going to be delivered. So there still is a large practical element there as well. So we'll start with the part-time course. Part-time course year 1 starts in October. It'll run through until the following May, 2 nights a week, Monday and Wednesday from 7 till 10 p.m. So when you come in at 7 o'clock, we normally split the night. So maybe for the first hour and a half, we could be outside in the yard doing practicals, or out dosing cattle or some practicals like that. And then maybe for the second half of the night, we could be inside in the lecture theatre, carrying out some skills or doing some theory or some tutorials. So that's typically what a night would look like. We'd split the night up to have some variety. So year 1 goes from October to May. After you have year 1 completed on the part-time course, we bring you back in June for 1 full week called a block week. People might know it as. So you come in Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. And that's where I suppose you're here on Gurteen Farm, and we get a bulk of the practical skills done here in that week. And I suppose it's nice because you're coming in the evening time throughout the 2 years. It's nice to be here during the day and see
Yeah.
what happens on the farm. Year 2 then starts in September, and that follows through until the following May, again 2 nights a week. In terms of the distance course, we start in October until May, 1 Friday per month, and that Friday would be a schedule of 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. That would be a mix of indoor and outdoor practicals. It would be a mix of assessments. Every Friday you're in here is different, but it would be a mix of indoors and outdoors. That day, or that distance course, also has some occasional Saturdays as well. Like the part-time course, when you reach the end of year 1 in May, you come back here then in June and do a block week, same thing as the part-time, get a bulk of the skills out of the way. Then you're back in September for year 2, 1 Friday per month, some occasional Saturdays, and finish up the following May.
Anne-Marie, that's really helpful. So there's a number of questions coming in, but we're going to go to a video in a moment. So we'll try and cover a couple of those questions off. And there's a question specifically about how do I apply? So if you went to the college website, which I think is probably on your screen at the moment, if you go onto the college website, so simply log on to gurteencollege.ie, and on the front page of the college website are very, very clear questions about how you can log on to either the part-time or the full-time applications. There's 2 other questions which I think I can cover off quite quickly before we go to the next video. So one of the questions is that there's somebody that's doing an apprenticeship and wants to know whether the part-time course would be a possibility for them while they're doing an apprenticeship. So Anne-Marie, could you cover that one? Yeah,
so if somebody's currently doing an apprenticeship at the minute, they'd be more than welcome to do the part-time course, but they must be at least 23 years of age.
Okay.
And I suppose if they're not 23 years of age, by the time they have their apprenticeship completed, they would actually be eligible for the distance program.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just to point out on that, John, like a lot of people could be very unsure about the NFQ, the level of qualification that they have. So if anybody has any individual circumstances, the email address is on our website and they can get in contact with us and we'll follow up with them.
That's really helpful. So last question in this section before we go to a video. The question is, what's the closing date for applications? So the honest answer is that we're filling up fast and we would encourage you to place your applications in. But in reality, for the right candidates, we'll always listen and talk to individuals. So don't hesitate, put your applications in, make sure that you're on the website and that you're talking to us via an email system or picking the phone. Okay, so we're going to break and we're going to go out to Caroline on the videotape.
Hello, I'm Caroline, one of the tutors here at Gurteen College. I want to tell you a little bit about our dry stock course and also the great work we're doing around sustainability and protecting the environment, both areas which are close to my heart. Gurteen's greatest strength is our students. They really make my job fun and they are our best advertisement. The Gurteen Farm Dry Stock Unit provides a brilliant base for all our teaching. They are some of the top performing sucklers calving cows and a few of our mid-season and early lambs. The dry stock unit also includes a finishing shed, an autumn suckler herd and 400 mid-season crossbred Boris ewes. The aim of our dry stock unit is to equip you with the necessary practical, technical and financial skills for your future, demonstrate best practice and generate a profit. We believe you will learn through best a hands-on approach, so yard duties and practical lessons form the majority of our timetable. What sets Gurteen College apart is the opportunity to be fully immersed in farmer-focused learning. Gurteen has a progressive culture, long associated with sustainability and biomass, which has been produced and used on site since the 1980s, growing 32 hectares of willow, which generate heat solely for the college. Other environmental technologies used include PV panels, LED lighting and rainwater harvesting measures. The college farm includes woodland and bog, which serve as equally important habitats for flora and fauna. We see your success as a reflection of our own. As a Gurteen student, you will develop an interest in the world around you and your role in global food production. The friendships you forge at Gurteen will last a lifetime.
As you can tell from Caroline's video, we're very proud of the students that study at Gurteen College. We're very passionate about helping them develop their career. And as Caroline said, they make our job really fun. Students are the real strength and the real core at Gurteen College. So Steph, I'm going to pass over to you, and I'm going to ask you to talk us through employment opportunities and progression opportunities for students that have studied here at Gurteen.
Okay, thanks, John. So I suppose the first thing to say, John, is that we have many different backgrounds coming into the Gurteen College forum. So we're always open to whatever career path the student wants to choose. And the starting point that we take is when a first year level 5, a Teagasc level 5 student first comes into Gurteen College, they're assigned a mentor. And that mentor sits them down, and the mentor in the first week is probably just to settle their nerves and ensure that they're okay. But that mentor is also there to sit them down and say to them, what do you want out of this course? What is your future career path? Because let's not beat around the bush. The main reason, you know, we want students in Gurteen College is to create an employable person and to meet what their vision of success is. So students have different career paths in mind. So we have students who wish to go home and work on their home farm, and we fully respect that student, and we will do everything in our power to help them get all the skills necessary to go home and build their farm at home. You have then students who maybe don't come from a farm background, or maybe don't want to go home straight away and they want to go abroad, or they want to enter into some kind of a farm management type of a career. And there's progression routes following the 2 years in Gurteen College. There are different farm apprenticeship programs that we can help those students prepare for and apply for. And we have a very clear system when a student comes into the second year to help students actually progress in their careers. Their mentor probably sits down with them once a month in the second year to assess where they're at and what they want to do. And then we have a bunch of students every year, a percentage, who want to further their education. They want to go on further. So maybe they want to get a degree. And we have students who go on to all different forms of degrees, predominantly agricultural degrees. So we have students who have gone on to Dundalk IT, Letterkenny IT. We have a good portion of students every year who probably apply for the WIT agricultural course. It's quite popular. UCD. And we have students who go to those courses and progress on to master's and PhD programs.
Brilliant.
And I suppose it's just to say that I hope I'm getting the point across that we respect students, what they want to do in any of those career paths. So the person who wants to go on to get a doctorate and become a professor in agricultural science, we respect that person, and we respect the person who wants to go on and work on a farm and be a farm manager just as much.
Thanks, Steph. And importantly, from our point of view, we have a close relationship with LIT, and a number of our students progress there. But we've got students going to all of those places. Joe, there's a number of questions coming in which maybe relate back to some of the things that Caroline was talking about in terms of community and student spirit within the college. There's some questions about sport, and there's some questions about other activities. So I wonder if you could just take a couple of moments and talk us through some of those.
Absolutely, no problem, John. I suppose the big thing, say, students have maybe, and this is an unusual year in terms of the leaving cert and all, it has been, and I suppose it has been different, but this is progress, this is third level, this is not school. And I suppose as I would say to students here on occasions, sometimes we don't meet X and Y, algebra is gone. We might have, say, someone talking about grass, dry matter, etc. So it's practical, and all the guys who are in the class, whether it's part-time or full-time, have interest in the same thing. So whether it's talking about tractors or cows or the arguments in the canteen, they're all
agreeing, which is best.
Well, I couldn't answer that, John. We'll leave that to the public. Maybe we'll take a poll on that. But it's very much people of the same interest, and we have a community. And there will be guys who will be machinery people, and we'll have stock people, and they'll have their debates. But we also have sport. We play GA, we play hurling football, we play in competitions against the other colleges, and it's an opportunity for students to meet, say, students in the other colleges. And I suppose this year was the first year where we had a girls' competition, a ladies' football competition for the students in all the colleges. So that was a positive. Stephanie mentioned it earlier. So that's good. So students have the opportunity to meet, and maybe they know some of the students in the other colleges. But also, say, us as staff, we go to the Ploughing Championships. We mightn't have one this year, but we go and we meet past students, and they tell us how they're getting on in their career and who they know. And we're at a barbecue during the summer with the guys from Gurteen, and it's still they make
sense of
friends for
community.
life. Yeah, they
Friends
make
for life.
friends for life, to be fair.
So Joe, you've clearly told us about GAA. I want to put a plug in for rugby because that's my sport. And I know that last year one of the part-time students was actually a professional rugby player and has moved on and is playing for Connacht. So we're very proud of that process as well. Okay, so there's more questions coming in and we'll do our best to answer some of those. There's some questions which I can see coming in about learner support and about residential accommodation. And I promise we'll get to those, but maybe later in the session. So at the moment, a question about, I don't live in Ireland, and do we accept foreign students? So if I start and then maybe ask Stephanie to step in, so I can confidently say, yes, we do, because you can recognize from my accent, but I'm not a native of this very fine country, but I've been very welcomed here. So Steph, foreign students, do we accept foreign students?
Absolutely, John. So there's no reason why a person from another country cannot apply to Gurteen College to come here. And you know, we will do everything in our power to help with that process. Obviously, somebody coming from another country, you might not be as familiar with the process. And all I'd say there is, you know, pick up the phone or go onto our website and email us, and we will help you through that process about how to apply and how to negotiate the system. You know, if there's any issues, I'm sure we can help resolve those for a person who's wanting to come from another country. Yeah.
Thank you for that. So one more question in this session, and then we're going to go to a video. And Joe, you could maybe answer this question. The question is about what other extracurricular activities are, and specifically, are there trips involved if you study agriculture at Gurteen?
There are trips involved, and we have, say, trips which are part of the modules. They're built into modules, and we take students on trips. But we also have social trips. We have brought second years for a number of years to Scotland, over to, I don't think it'll happen this year now with this situation, but we brought students to the Highland Show and visited farms, tied that in, and that has been brilliant opportunity for staff to get to know students, and I suppose students maybe at the end of second year. So to be fair, we have fine students. The students we get, they're fine people.
Excellent. So a very clear message that says practical learning on a 1,000-acre commercial farm, but not limited to that. Lots of opportunities to have trips. Joe talked about Scotland, but I know that the students will go to the factory, they'll go to the creamery, they'll go see all those other sides of our industry. So we're going to go to another video now, and this time it's our colleague Mark Keenan who's going to talk to us about the dairy unit.
Hi, how's it going? I'm Mark and I'm one of the team here at Gurteen College. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about the Gurteen dairy herd. We have 225 pedigree Holstein Friesian cows here at the college. The genetics and the breeding of the herd goes back over decades. That's something we're really proud of. And we've stayed loyal to the black and white cow here at the college. Like many farms in Ireland, we've recently expanded and upgraded our dairy facilities with new parlour, handling facilities and cubicle sheds. We are currently in the middle of breeding. Much of our hands-on teaching will take place in these superb facilities. Students will be involved in all aspects of our dairy unit, including milking, calf rearing, grass allocation and general farm work, just to name a few. All the data we record is available to the learners and used in lessons both inside and out. We turn the KPI figures into reality and showing students the reasoning behind them. Here we are here in the lodge field. The dairy cows are grazing. It's a 36-hour block. Grass is one of the topics I'm passionate about. Measuring and managing grass is key to success of dairy and dry stock units in Ireland. It's our natural resource and it's a competitive advantage. All students at Gurteen will develop skills to measure grass growth, farm covers, plan grazing, and it's something they're really engaged in, as it is a skill that can be put into use straight away and take home. Using slurry to its potential and managing urea effectively is the key to maximising grass growth throughout the season. Soil fertility, grass and weed ID, infrastructure, grass measuring, using grassland tools like pasture base, and developing and designing a plan for the home farm platform is just part of the course. Every student gets an individual support and tutor time. Ensuring we use this green stuff to the best of our abilities is key, and this is done by getting good clean outs to 3.5 centimetres or the knuckle of my index finger. And they're meeting rotation lengths and meeting target grass covers and key times of the year and achieving our goal of 10 grazings a year. All the data proves that managing grassland effectively is the biggest driver of profit on Irish livestock farms. And that's why at Gurteen we're determined to demonstrate best practice at grassland management. Teagasc has developed the roadmap. Here at Gurteen, our key is to show the students how to get on the first step of the ladder to achieving more from their home farm and understanding the potential of the home farm. Land is in short supply and they aren't making any more of it. So our key message is to nurture the land and get its potential out of it.
Isn't that fantastic? What comes through to me is the real passion that all of the staff here have in helping support learners and students and making them the centre of our world and making sure that everything we do is focused on helping our learners achieve their full potential. So Anne-Marie, I'm going to come over to you because Mark was talking very clearly there about how we support students. There's been a number of questions that come in which have been asking about learner support. So I wonder whether you could just talk us through that process here at Gurteen.
Yep, so we do have a learning support team here in the college. Anna Cameron is our learning support officer. I suppose the main thing, just to clarify, that there is learning support available for the full-time, part-time and distance courses. So it's available for all students that come here on our Teagasc courses. So I suppose if you are a student or if you are a parent or a guardian of a student who will require learning support, it is important to indicate this on your application when you do apply to the college. And I suppose following on from that, then Anna Cameron will follow up with you with a meeting to discuss, I suppose, that individual's needs going forward. And I suppose we'll put a program in place, a learning support program for that person over the course of their time here in Gurteen, whether it's 1 year or 2 years. If anyone has already applied for a course and maybe not indicated it on their application form, you can get in touch. You can pick up the phone or you can get our email address off the website and let us know, and we'll log that with Anna, and Anna will be in touch. So I suppose for the full-time students starting this autumn or starting in September, Anna will be in contact with you between now and September to arrange a meeting, and it may be a socially distanced meeting or maybe a Zoom call. But we will arrange that. And it is important to say that adult learners may be coming on to our part-time and distance course. Maybe they left school early, maybe they don't remember how they got support. We will do an assessment on the individual and we will reassess going through the course, and we will provide, I suppose, what's needed for the people to get through the course.
That's a really clear message. Learner support shouldn't get in the way of somebody achieving here at Gurteen.
Yeah.
Everybody's an individual and we're going to treat them as such.
Yep.
Excellent, thank you. Joe, I've been reminded by, I think, 3 separate people that I haven't yet answered the question that my little nephew across in Oxfordshire asked. So this is the opportunity. Joe, I wonder if you could talk us through some of the resources here at Gurteen, and specifically for Jimmy, can you tell us how many cows there are?
Yeah, well, I'll try and answer the question for Jimmy, but just before we start, I suppose the videos and the clips we have from our farm have shown us the resources, and I suppose the primary resource is our farm. We have a 1,000-acre farm, so that can carry substantial commercial enterprises, and we have those. We have a commercial dairy enterprise, and for Jimmy, we have 220 cows in 2020 milking, and those are Holstein Friesian cows, and all the calves from that enterprise are kept on the farm. We take our replacements for the dairy herd from that. We also take some replacements from that herd for our suckler herd. And then the rest of the animals are finished on the farm for beef. We have a 70 cow suckler beef enterprise as well, 30 autumn, 40 spring calving. So we both autumn and spring calving to give students the experience of both enterprises. And we finish all those animals. Those animals would be continental, would be Limousin cross cows, crossed with Charolais, Limousin bulls, and all those animals are finished on the farm. So students get an opportunity to look at, say, a broad range of cattle enterprises on the farm, and they're at such a scale that they can see them for real. So they are big enterprises. We also have 100 acres of crops, as you mentioned earlier, John, and those crops are grown. Students are involved in the machinery operations, and we've quite a fleet of machinery. We have tractors. We've probably 7, 8 tractors. We have 6 New Hollands, an old John Deere. We have an old Ford. So the students get an opportunity to drive those tractors while there's crop work going on or slurry, etc. And the equipment was in the video. Students do that work. If they're here on site at the time, they're up driving. They get the opportunity to drive. And like we're talking about learning support, but if a student comes who maybe hasn't experienced, be it with livestock or machinery, etc., or maybe from that urban background, they shouldn't feel hesitant or disadvantaged that they don't have the skills. They're here to learn those skills, and we're using this farm to help teach the students the skills and to try show them best practice in the enterprises that we have. We also have 450 ewes. They're split between early lambing. We lamb those in January and mid-season in March. And we have that's a commercial enterprise, and students are involved in drafting lambs and weighing lambs, dosing lambs, etc. So there are lots of opportunities to learn on the farm. And I suppose the big resource we have are the people, and the people include the students, students, the staff, the farm staff, everyone in the place. Like there's a helpful atmosphere in the college, and I'm here quite a while now, and like we have great friendships both with students and staff within the college.
So big commercial farm, lots of resources, and all of those resources available for teaching. They're not exclusive to the farm. That fleet of New Hollands that you're talking about, the Abbey tanker, all of those things are there for the students. But I think you've made a very good point to say actually the biggest resource we've got are the humans associated with Gurteen, the students, the staff, the ex-students, and the community that's in there. I was pleased that you talked about the sheep, because I could see some questions coming in saying how many sheep. So we've answered that one as well, 450 ewes, and we're very proud of that flock in terms of the process. So time's really flown by, and we're getting close to the end of the process. We've got a number of more questions which are still left unanswered that we need to cover off. And then, Steph, we'll maybe ask you to talk about reputation and lifelong learning as we progress. But one of the questions that came in earlier was from somebody who lives in Donegal and specifically asked about accommodation. So I think I'll take that one. And the question really was, is accommodation going to be open? And the answer is the same as the answer about COVID earlier. If hotels are allowed to open, then we'll open our accommodation. We'll follow all the guidance. We'll make sure that we can socially distance, and we'll operate in small pods, and everybody will have individual study rooms. But yes, we will welcome students from all four corners of Ireland and from abroad. We always have, and that's a real strength of Gurteen. So our accommodation will be open if the regulations allow us to do that. So Steph, lifelong learning. So that concept that says when somebody leaves Gurteen, what's the next step? You've talked to us about immediately what the next step is, but actually what else is going to happen? Yeah.
So I suppose, like I said earlier, John, we instill from day one to the students that our main priority for them is to become an employable person once they have finished our courses. However, it's becoming more and more apparent that once you finish up a course like Gurteen, the Gurteen level 5 and level 6 courses, you do need to continue on with your education. So we would be encouraging students to join with discussion groups. We often would invite those students to come back to discussion groups and open days that we hold here in the college. So we'd be contacting past students to invite them back to those kind of training days. We would be running specific training around, hoof pairing, around shearing sheep, which we do every year. We would be running various different courses, whatever the students tell us that they could do with once they've left. So these would be students that have left the college. And that's a big part of Gurteen College, that once the person leaves us and they've done their second year, it doesn't mean that they've entirely left us. They're always part of the Gurteen community, and they're always part of whatever education opportunities that we can provide for them, be it a sprayer course or whatever it is that we're being told the demand is.
Steph, there's a very specific question, and Sam, thanks for your patience. I know you've asked this question twice, but I promised I'd try and get to it. So Sam is asking what modules would be covered in level 5. So maybe don't give us the list, because Sam, if you go onto our website at gurteencollege.ie, you'll see that list. But Steph, if you could talk us through the core subjects.
Yeah, so I suppose a flavour. The main core subjects that you do when you come to Gurteen in your first year are your work placement, obviously. You do a general module around all the different enterprises that's called Principles of Agriculture. You learn about farm safety and farm assurance, which is a priority for farmers these days. You learn about farm business and technology. So there will be times where we'll put you in front of a computer and ensure that you're able to do the basic tasks that would be required of you should you go out and be employed in the farming industry. And we do cover some core modules around, you know, safety around pesticides. And then obviously, depending on the stream the person chooses when they come into Gurteen, we'll either do dairy, sheep or tillage, or, you know, crops and machinery when they go into the level 6. So that will be dependent on the stream that the person takes. And then we offer some elective modules around, you know, different elective modules. There's many of them, and the student can choose.
So if a student chooses to study dairy in their level 6 program,
yeah,
they do a more focused program specifically around dairy farming.
Exactly, yeah. So if a student chooses to do dairy husbandry in their first year, then they won't be studying sheep in Gurteen. They will have nothing to do with sheep. They might have some interaction with sheep, and vice versa. If a person chooses that they want to mostly focus on dry stock, then they'll be doing mostly sheep and beef, and they'll have very little to do with the dairy enterprise.
Understood.
So that's how that works.
Joe, one of the questions which came in earlier and we didn't have a chance to answer at the time was, I think Ken referred on his video to yard work.
Yes.
Could you just explain what that terminology means at Gurteen?
Well, I suppose with the scale of the enterprises, students get an opportunity on one of the half days, once a fortnight, to partake in the actual running of the farm. So they could be on dairy or they could be on beef. So a team of students, which might be 10 or 12 students, would be allocated to the farm staff for an afternoon where they get the opportunity to work on the farm and to get experience the reality of a farm of the scale of Gurteen College.
This is in addition to a normal timetable activity.
Yeah, in addition to the normal timetable. So it supports the modules, the practical element of the modules, to get an opportunity. And maybe if there was a student who needed maybe extra time driving a tractor, it's a chance for them to get that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, brilliant. So we're getting very close to the end of time. There's a number of questions and some technical questions about young trained farmer status and transitioning from careers. Probably too difficult to answer directly now, but what I would suggest is that if you make sure that you log on to our YouTube channel or the Teagasc YouTube channel, the questions and answers will all be published on there. And again, if there are very specific questions that you've got, go to the college website, email a question in, we'll make sure that one of the panel is available to answer that. In terms of the process, I think that's going to be the most productive way of doing that. So let's just recap. The recording from tonight will be live on the YouTube channel in the next few days, and you'll be able to view that both at Gurteen and at the Teagasc YouTube channels. The Gurteen website is the starting point for the application process and also has links for you to be able to contact staff and to talk through any questions and answers that you may have. So I think we've made it right to the end of time there, and I'm really pleased with how this evening gone. I hope it's been useful, and I hope that you've found some value in it. But most importantly, I really look forward to welcoming you to Gurteen College in September 2020. Thank you.